Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, Teddy, and Marissa. We got the big four here to talk Avengers Endgame. Spoiler discussion. Say that up top. This is a spoiler discussion. We will be discussing things that happen in the movies that will spoil your experience if you have not seen it. There are going to be spoilers. I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to check out.
Yeah, they can read the title, huh?
Iron Man's dead.
Yes, okay.
Doesn't it feel, it feels liberating to say that?
Yeah.
Iron Man, dead. Thanos, dead. Black Widow, dead. Bono.
How long do you gotta wait? Like, do you gotta wait till Monday to say all this stuff? Like,
No, you wait like
it's enough time, right? Thursday,
No.
Friday, Saturday?
Spoiler discussion?
you mean like on Twitter?
Yeah, like to say it in general.
On Twitter, no,
Regardless.
you have to wait like a
A
week.
few weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah. You
But videos,
psychopath.
you could say anything as long as the title.
Yeah.
Right.
Spoiler-free Avengers.
Teddy's
discussion.
thinking Monday. It's like, yeah, people have
That's the weekend.
people
man.
are
That's enough
busy,
time.
man.
No, if you haven't seen this, well, this movie you have to give them time because the tickets were
Yeah.
crazy.
Okay.
So
I'll give
this
that.
you have
All
to
right.
extend it. But like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Monday. If you haven't seen that opening weekend, you don't care.
Yeah, you're not a big Marvel guy then.
Yeah.
Or girl.
Yeah, so Avengers Endgame, it's a movie that we've been waiting for. Not too long, only a year wait after Infinity War. We all know what happened in that movie, the snap, the decimation by Thanos. So yeah, I guess we'll just get right into the thoughts of how you guys enjoyed this movie. Did it live up to your expectations? And we'll start with the resident Marvel fan, Marissa. Marissa, what do you think about this movie?
Teddy gets ready to speak.
Well, Bo.
Funny you asked me that.
I love this. I was expecting to enjoy this movie. I figured that they pretty much cracked Infinity War, that Endgame wouldn't be that difficult to accomplish, but I was absolutely... I don't think I've ever felt so much emotion at one time in my entire life. Watching this movie, I was like having an anxiety attack towards the middle because I was so stressed out about what was happening.
It was like an emotional gut punch the entire time.
I was shaking at one point. Like, I was like, I don't know what's happening.
How many times did you cry?
Actually,
not a
only
big crier.
once. I'm not a big crier,
No.
no. Yeah, the part where Cap is like so completely outnumbered, and then you hear Sam say like on your left, and then all the portals start opening. That's when I felt the tears.
Well, it's funny because in that moment, I feel like Kat was game planning how he was going to pull this one off.
All by himself.
Yeah.
I thought
I
he was
started
just gonna
laughing.
I was like, is this his death scene? Because
Yeah.
there was that scene in the
Yes.
trailer where he tightens the strap on his shield,
Mhm.
and I was like, he's dying, and I thought this was it. I was like, is he gonna try to take him on himself? Like,
He's looking at all the armies like, all right, if I get the shield at this exact angle,
I could take out like
ricochet all the
100,000 of
domino effect. What do you think, Ted? I know you love this movie, but
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic, man. The Russo brothers did a great job ending this 11-year run. It was so emotional. It was so much action. I thought they couldn't flesh out these characters any more than they did in this movie. We got everything we needed in Infinity War, and then they fleshed them out even more than that. One thing I loved about this movie was that they kept the focus on the main Avengers, but they integrated everyone else, which that had to be tough, and they pulled it off so smoothly. This story is coming to an end finally. Seeing Iron Man go out the way he did, it was just so perfect, because he came in like a badass, and then he went out like a badass. So
well, I mean, just to talk about Iron Man for a sec, I guess we'll get Aaron's overall thoughts before I go into my Iron Man tribute.
Okay. I liked Infinity War a little bit more, but I think this third act was probably better than anything I've seen in the whole MCU. The road there, though, it was a little rough at times. It definitely, the pacing early in the movie was a little bit of a struggle, and I don't know, I felt like the time travel thing, it got a little gimmicky and kind of lasted a little too long, but once it got into that third act and Thanos comes to Earth and they're ready to go, it was everything I wanted from that moment. And I think that last however long it was, because I felt like that third act flew by. And I think that's just a perfect cap on this Infinity Saga. And I had some problems, little minor nitpicks with the movie, but as an overall achievement from the Russo brothers, it was spectacular to watch. And I don't know, it's kind of sad to see it all come to end, especially that ending with Tony Stark, but it's such a great way to go for that character, and it's a fitting end for his arc.
Yeah. I don't know which one is better, Infinity War or this one. I was leaning towards Infinity
Infinity
War.
War's cleaner. It's
Yeah.
I think it's
there's so many
as a
potholes.
movie, it's just a better movie. This one, I think they focus a lot on the character moments, which I did like, but sometimes it just goes a little bit too much, and you're just kind of waiting for the inevitable to come. And I know they have to get there to piece it together, and it's not just we can't just throw them all together in a fight. You need some lead up to that. But I think at times it was a little rough. But once it hits that third act, and basically pretty much Captain America picks up Mjolnir, I forgot about all of that.
Yeah.
And the range of emotions from then on was just incredible. From sadness, happiness, pure joy to heartbreak. It really hit all the points, and that just shows
You doing
that
your overall thoughts again?
yeah, just that 10-year that 10-year investment though is just what
Right.
really culminates to that
So
moment.
what's your final score?
Like a 9 point something.
Okay.
9.3.
We'll see you
Shut
back
down.
here.
I was
for the
reiterating a
X-Men
point, not to be a fucking dick about it. You have Teddy fucking stammer on for 5 minutes.
reboot. Well, I was like going to bring up a point about Thanos, and then you were like, yeah. Let me reiterate my overall
It was a
thoughts.
quick reiteration from what I was talking about.
It was a quick reiteration. I'll give you that.
Sorry, Ted.
Your first overall points was cleaner. The second one, I was just waiting for the inevitable to happen.
The third act was fucking
The
killer.
third act was, once you picked up that word inevitable, you are inevitable. Yeah, the first movie, it's Thanos is just better in Infinity War. And he's the best part of that movie. He gets like 30 minutes of screen time. And it was a different Thanos in this movie. You said you were disappointed that we didn't get to see the aftermath of the snap. But that first scene when he's just fucking in his garden,
Yeah.
picking fruits, cooking shit, adding a little spices, that was awesome. And every time I've seen it, people chuckle at that because he's in like a rundown T-shirt.
Easy
Yeah, he's just
season
chilling.
5.
He's cooking food, he's hanging out, and then that opening scene, man, I had no idea what was going on. Just they go after him right away.
I
Oh yeah.
didn't like that.
Chop his head off.
That's one thing I really didn't like.
Well, I like immature Thanos because that's how 2014 Thanos felt.
Yeah.
That he was so happy that he accomplished that. I love when he's watching the video of himself and he says, "I am inevitable," and he smiles at himself.
Yeah.
Great line.
But the thing is,
I'm gonna
like,
use
You
that.
put that together?
Yeah. But he became so anxious about it.
It doesn't
because he
take-
learned that he succeeded and he wanted to speed that up. Literally travel to the
Yeah.
future to try and do it again.
well, it's not that it takes anything away from the third act, but I think it would have been a lot more stakes if it was the same Thanos. Scarlet Witch says, "I don't know who you are." I mean, I kind of that especially with Tony when he wins at the end, that would have hit home so much more if it was the same Thanos that beat him in the last movie, who threw a fucking moon at him. Now, like, it's the same character, right? We assume that he has the same motivations, the same past, and it's just basically Infinity War is what he forgot or he didn't experience, but that's our introduction to the character. That's where he meets all these characters. That's where they kind of build that. And he's always, in Infinity War, he always had that kind of respect for the characters too. Here he doesn't have it, so I wish they could have done it where...
But you can imagine that's where the character would have went if
What?
he discovered that they found a way to reverse what he did. That
Exactly.
he just becomes infuriated.
But
it
have
didn't
that
have to
happen
be
with
that
the
same
same-
character, even though it is the same character. Because when he's sitting down and they're approaching him, Thor, Cap, Iron Man, and he says you couldn't live with your own failure, it's like it's the same Thanos.
But it's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Right, but it is. That's where that character would have went in his mindset.
Yeah. It's a
Where he
small-
evolves his position where he's saying, I can't just wipe out. You taught me a lesson here
Yeah.
that if I wipe out half, then you guys are going to try to reverse that, and I'm just going to take you all out.
It doesn't ruin the movie for me. I still
Right,
love
right.
it, but I would have preferred it to be the same guy.
Well, that was such a shocker, and I really did enjoy it. Because, like you said, they focus on the original 6 in this one. And they had to. It was no coincidence that they survived the snap. But, I don't know. What did you think about Thanos in this movie, Marissa?
Infinity War was Thanos' movie, and this was not, and I didn't mind that. It was the Avengers movie. It was like they switched perspectives, essentially. I was shocked when they killed him right in the beginning. I wasn't expecting that to happen at all. Like, the whole beginning of the movie where they're just like, okay, we're going to go, like, we found Thanos, let's go find him. I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah. But that first scene, too, with Iron Man and Nebula, that was a great scene. That's one of my favorite scenes of the movie, when he's giving the goodbye to Pepper Potts when he's recording the message.
He just seems so real.
Yes.
Like drained, mentally drained, like
Well, he thinks
he's given up.
Yeah, he's gonna die. It's in his mind. He's a goner. So, in that moment, he's just.
It was just
laying it
nice
on
seeing
the
him
line.
all serious. It did hurt
Well,
seeing
even
him when
that
he came
scene when
back.
he comes back,
Yeah, that hurt seeing
he's
him like that.
ruined, dude. He looks sickly. He's skinny. He's lost weight. He's terrified of Thanos. When he rips out his heart, gives it to Captain America, and says, "You put this on and you hide." It's always weird seeing your characters like that, seeing them so vulnerable.
Is Thanos really that strong?
I think so.
In that third act? Are you kidding me? I was blown away. I couldn't believe he was putting him off like that.
Well, it makes sense why he was able to beat Hulk so easily.
Oh, that's one thing I'm upset about.
You're still upset about that. In
That Hulk
Infinity
didn't
War.
get. Hulk didn't get a
He didn't get another
rematch on
chance to
him.
go at him.
You're gonna embarrass him again.
No, I think Hulk should have got a fight in that 4-on-1. That's what it should have been.
Yeah, well, he is so overwhelmingly strong. Even a character like Thor, who was being overpowered by him a couple times.
I thought Thor was gonna die.
Yeah. Well, Thor, too, is another character, the way that he reacted to what happened. The 5 years later, that was another surprise when that came up on screen.
One of my favorite scenes in this movie is definitely when like Thor's kind of just like going crazy. He's all like, walking around drunk, and then they mention Thanos, and immediately it's like not personality switch, but like he like shuts down. And I know like this movie wasn't going to go like into trauma, but I really like when characters who have been established to be a certain way, like they've all experienced this really terrifying event, and I like when you see the repercussions of that in some kind of
How
way.
each person handles it.
As soon as he says Thanos, his face just shuts down. You can just see that fear within him. It's not a name that they mention, and he holds it. He made the mistake. He didn't go for the head. And that line when he does chop his head off, and Rocket says, "What did you do?" He says, "I went for the head." What did you think about Fat Thor?
I was just gonna ask, like, did you guys
Amazing.
think that? Yeah,
I love
I'm
how
not
they kept him
opposed.
fat the whole movie too.
I'm not opposed to the funny Thor. I really like the more mature Thor.
Yeah.
But I mean, the funny Thor it is what it is.
But how's he gonna
he
lose
was
weight
hilarious.
in a day?
I know.
Yeah,
it
he was
doesn't,
hilarious.
doesn't make sense, but I felt like it was just a little. It was
Amazing.
funny. It was funny for that moment. I was laughing, but when you're seeing him fucking full beer gut, looking like Fat Mac fighting
Santa
Thanos,
Claus.
It's amazing.
people were laughing at like an emotional part of the movie because they just saw his fat, grotesque body.
No, see, yeah.
I don't think it was fat grotesque in the arm.
No, when Thor was
his
creeping
gut.
on Thanos,
Yeah.
and they did the shot of him like walking.
People were fucking cracking
Going
up.
baseline.
I thought he looked like an old samurai, like you would see in like the Kurosawa movies, where they're not in the best of shape, but they're old school. They got that old man strength.
All I saw was Tim Allen, Santa Claus. That's all I saw.
But it's so funny, even in the dramatic scenes when they're all walking up to the quantum tunnel, and he's just like kind of waddling, and he's still fat, but he's in his quantum suit.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the Marvel movies, is that they find a way, these ridiculous stories, to ground them in some sort of reality. Where Thor is fat, he's not going to lose that weight in a day.
No, I respect.
Or Hulk.
I respect having it's the most relatable I'll ever be to a god. So I kind of respected that aspect of it. But like he is the god of thunder fighting Thanos, and like it's all the original three coming together for this ultimate climax, and he's just fucking gut busted, like
No,
I
2
think
feet
that's
out.
amazing.
when that lightning hit him, I thought it was going to change everything.
Me too,
But it
yeah.
just fixed up his beard.
He got him armor that fit the gut. To me, that was amazing. And Hulk, my favorite rendition of the Hulk so far in the MCU.
I wish they would have cut out like 20 minutes of the movie with like Cap being in that support group and Ant-Man bonding around San Fran, and
Really?
flesh more into why Hulk became Professor Hulk.
Okay.
yeah.
So you wanted a Hulk movie.
Not a Hulk movie.
I mean, you need those moments.
That's 20 minutes though. I mean, what, him him walking around San Fran?
I love
It was
this
like a 3-minute scene.
No, yeah, but
I love
The whole-
that when he's like, "Kid, what the hell happened here?" And the kid just
But it gives you
sniffles his nose.
You need those scenes to grasp like the situation and how it's affected 5 years later. To get those shots of, even though it's been 5 years, I mean, the Mets still haven't even put a team on the field yet. It's probably best for all
Things
of us.
haven't changed.
The port is still a little messed up, but people are still 5 years later. They're crying. Russo and his date are crying at their meal at dessert because this tragedy is still with them every day. So I think you need that to really set the tone and the setting for the rest of the film.
I love that line too by Captain America when he's talking to Black Widow and he says, "I saw a pot of whales on the way here." He's almost trying to look on the bright side, like, "Hey, maybe what Thanos did was." That's the most unrealistic thing about this, because if you eliminate half the bee population, the entire food supply of the planet would just completely go.
Yo,
It's half of 100.
Yeah, the
Cap
wizard palm-
stays
yeah.
motivating.
right, that's true. Oh yeah,
He's
well,
motivating the entire
giddy
movie.
optimism.
Yeah,
I mean,
everywhere he went.
he's already lost everything once.
Yeah, he doesn't have much to lose.
I wouldn't even say that. It's just like he's used to this. It's like when you wake up and you find out that everyone you know is dead because you were in ice for however long he was in. Was it 75 years?
Yeah, about 75 years.
And then it's like this happens. Obviously, not the same scale, but it's something he knows. Unfortunately, that it sucks for him. But
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that he went support group leader kind of thing, especially with how he met Sam in Winter Soldier, through that support group.
Yeah, that's what Sam was doing, right?
Yeah.
In Winter Soldier.
He was a support group for veterans, I think.
Well, what did you guys think about the idea of time travel? How they handled time travel in this movie using the quantum realm? It's confusing.
No, it was expected though. I mean,
Yes.
I think looking forward to this movie, that's one aspect we thought we were going to see. My only problem is it almost seemed like they explained the laws of time travel for this movie and they kind of broke it at the end with the cap. Well, we'll get to that later, but I don't mind it because it is every movie or every TV show that's had time travel. You're always like, wait, does it create some kind of paradox, or you don't really know what's going on or how the laws of this time travel work, and you kind of just accept it. It's not that big of a deal. It's like, oh, it had this minor. It can make a couple plot holes, but I think it's more important to see like how the story progresses and how the characters develop through that insertion of that time travel. So I liked it, and they make the baby Hitler joke, which is fucking hilarious.
And they criticize every time travel movie ever.
Yeah.
Even Die Hard, they just threw that in. Yeah, it's a linear perspective of time, and it's from an individual's perspective that no matter where you are, that you can be in the quantum realm and you can exist in 2 points at the same time, but you're still moving forward. That's still your future. You're always in your present. It's even though you are in the timelines past. Which is interesting philosophically, and I think it works to an extent, but people are going to overanalyze all the plot holes in this movie, and the one at the very end, and also the scene with the Ancient One, is what leaves me confused.
Yeah, because it seems like
They tried to ground it in some sort of real science.
Well, I think Banner established it as a linear progression of time.
Yes.
Where the Ancient One describes it as an alternate progression,
right.
which you can either argue that, what you can get from that is either that when you put the stones into it, that's how the alternate realities are created, but time is still linear.
Yes.
In some ways.
There's one reality with an infinite amount of timelines.
Yeah.
And if you remove the stones, you create an additional reality.
With a bunch of other ones?
Well, reality is just held together. It's holding together all these multiple timelines. It's almost holding together the multiverse.
The time stones.
All the stones.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
No,
let's just talk about how
I don't even know what I just said made sense. I'm kind of like, that sounds right. So
my only problem with the time travel is that it kind of breaks the MCU. If something goes wrong, are they just going to go back in time and fix it?
Well, they can't.
Well, it's the linear progression. The only reason why they had to go back is because they needed the stones to bring back everybody.
Right,
so
That's a one-shot deal.
So if we're fighting, like in the future, next movie, Galactus comes and fucking kills half the unit, blows up the Earth. Well, if you go back, your past is already your past, so you can't change it. The same thing with Hitler.
Because the stones are gone now.
So what they're doing is they're not trying to change the past. They just want to fix it.
Yeah, that's what Thanos did.
Well, they can't change. Like, that's the baby Thanos. Even though if they kill baby Thanos, the snap still exists.
Right.
So if like a future threat comes and
he'll do it. He'll end up doing it. Is that kind of?
No. But if a future threat, even if they
this worked because of the stones. Because if they got the stones, then they can bring everybody back because it's magic.
Right.
That there was a magical weapon in the form of the stones in the Infinity Gauntlet in the past, in which they can reverse the snap. But they can't bring people back to life.
Which is why Gamora and
Black Widow
are staying dead.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Spoiler, Black Widow's dead. Spoiler discussion. What did you guys think about Black Widow's death?
Not a fan.
You weren't a fan, right?
I think it felt unnecessary. In general, her death compared to Tony's death, and also the implied fact that Captain America won't be around anymore, didn't hit as hard. And they also, like, the characters themselves did not acknowledge it nearly as much as they did for Tony. It was a great scene.
No, it was like a 5-minute mourning.
Yeah, like immediately after they all come back, they mourn a little bit, and then they mention her at the end. But it's completely overshadowed by Tony's death, and considering what her role is in the Avengers, it should have been something more. But also, Nebula 100% knew what happened to Vormir and what you needed to do to get the Soul Stone, and she sent them there. Well, she knew that Thanos killed Gamora.
Right, but she could have thought, Gamora showed my father where the stone was, and then he had no more use for her. I don't think she knew exactly what happened.
He says in Infinity Wars he went to Vormir with Gamora, and he came back with the Soul Stone.
Right. So, but she doesn't
put
know
two and
that
two
he
together?
had to sacrifice her, and he
Okay.
never. I don't think she ever told them.
Then maybe I'll give her a pass.
Right.
Well, let's even
So I thought
assume
about that too. I don't know if she knows that you had to sacrifice somebody.
let's even assume that it is. She does know. I mean, if
That's
by
the only two
telling
people
them,
you can send, really.
but by telling the whole crowd, like, hey, we need to sacrifice something, that kind of just, you can see Captain
the
America.
weight, yeah.
We don't trade
Yeah.
lives, you know. It would just create an unnecessary riff, or maybe just like you're putting people in a bad situation. Rather, it's kind of fucked up, but surprise, one of you have to die. You're almost guaranteeing that in that moment, someone's actually going to do it, and you're going to get the Soul Stone. If you leave it up to chance and people know what they're going to face, or they don't let somebody sacrifice themselves, then your whole plan kind of goes to crap.
Yeah, if they sent Nebula and Rhodey, who gets sacrificed?
That's true.
Somebody
Well, yeah.
you
Well,
love.
if one person goes, like, what happens? Can they not? They can't get the Soul
You're
Stone.
screwed. You got to go back home, get somebody you love.
Nice him.
Honey, what are you doing tonight?
You're not busy,
You
right?
want to go out?
You ever been to Vormir?
Yeah, here Boromir's nice this time of year.
Oh wait, that actually, when you said about Cap, and what I said earlier about with filler, kind of with the whole Captain doing like the support group, they could have showed Cap because he had to go back and see Red Skull. No, like,
Yeah.
we could have seen that. That
I was
would've been
thinking
nice to
about
see.
that during this viewing. It would have been cool if they reunited.
Well, Quicksilver too with the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the time travel. It was cool to see like the new perspectives on like
Oh yeah,
the films we already saw, like especially
2012 was the best.
of that. Yeah, and then
It's cool how those were just them. Just
even with
reshooting
Star
it.
Lord. Yeah, no, that was
And after the pose, that iconic shot of when they
Yeah.
were arresting Loki, and Tony Stark's like, we could pose here all day. Let's get this guy on
It's all
his feet.
because nothing has messed with the timeline to that so far. So that's an extension of that scene that
Exactly,
we never saw.
right,
So it's
yeah.
like a sneak peek, especially the elevator stuff.
Well, that's what I liked about it, too. I always think about when I watch Game of Thrones, when you're watching Ned Stark scene in Season 1, what's Jon Snow doing right now? He's in his room reading. It's just casual life in between the scenes that you see in a movie, like with Thor when he went back to Thor 2, and it's just his mom governing on Asgard. And like you said, it's the aftermath of the Avengers attack, how they arrested him, S.H.I.E.L.D. coming in, Alexander Pierce was
Yeah.
there, Robert Redford.
you don't always see that.
Right, yeah, it's cool to get. It's almost like a behind the scenes look. It makes it feel more real.
I thought everything with the at the event Stark Tower and with the Hulk and the Sorcerer Supreme, but I feel like everything else is kind of like, all right, let's.
You didn't like the Thor 2?
It was okay. It was fine, but it was like, all right, Thor, his new his drunk fat self being a drunk idiot, and
A small nitpick I had is when he was like, I want to go to my father's wine cellar.
yeah,
In the middle of
Yeah,
Exactly.
this
for real.
mission,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
weird.
I felt like the
you
others
didn't have to keep playing that for laughs.
I mean, they're important, but I felt like it was just kind of disrupted the flow of what I wanted to see, which was obviously the attack on New York.
But
I
if
love
he
the
doesn't-
Thor 2 stuff.
If he doesn't go to get the wine, then maybe he doesn't see his mom.
Right, yeah, okay. That's a good point. I really, and I hate Thor 2.
No,
Um,
such a weird fucking callback.
Well, they had to get the stone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's
But-
just like, oh, Dark World. Who knew? The worst movie in the whole fucking series.
Natalie Portman with the comeback.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny to me, man? Just Rocket Raccoon. I think this
He's
movie,
great.
out of all the MCU movies, embraced what it means to be a comic book. You have this giant green guy, you have a talking raccoon, you have this blue robot, so fantastical. And that's, people always talk about, how do you adapt comic book movies? How do you change them to make them work on film? Sometimes you can just adapt them straight up, and this felt like the most comic book movie of all time. Just the fact that there's a fucking talking raccoon and nobody blinks an eye about it is amazing to me.
The Build-A-Bear line was
That was great.
that was pretty funny.
Could have swore you were Build-A-Bear.
That was his first time seeing him, right?
Yeah, or even when Black Widow says, nothing's weird to me anymore, I get emails from a raccoon.
Yeah.
It's great. But going back to New York was great. Thor 2 and Guardians, seeing Peter Quill dancing. That was great.
About to watch Guardians tonight now.
That was really good. And where else did they go? Oh, the sequence with Cap and Iron Man when they go back to the 70s.
Yeah.
They go to the military
I mean,
base.
you got the whole Hell Hydra thing in the elevator.
Oh, that
Reminiscent
was
of,
amazing.
the,
Finessed him
of the
like
Winter
that.
Soldier scene, but he hits him with the
For
Hell
a second,
Hydra.
I thought they were just gonna redo the Winter Soldier
too.
scene,
Yeah.
and then he said Hail Hydra, and I was like, "This is better."
And he runs in the Cap, and that was cool. When they
I
first
can do
clashed,
this all day.
When they
Yeah,
first
I
clashed
know.
shields, that was fun.
I get it.
That was
And
awesome.
he wins with the Bucky line.
Hmm. He pulled that a couple times. He had the Peggy Carter watch, the Bucky line,
Yeah.
and he hits him with the staff. Ant-Man was so great in this movie, too.
Yeah,
He was hilarious.
I really like the Ant-Man here. I'm not a huge fan of the solo movies, but
I love how
I
Ant-Man-
love
Ant-Man-
Paul Rudd. He's the fucking man.
I love how he loves Captain America.
Yeah.
He's always trying to impress him. It's like, this is gonna work.
Well, when they're trying the
The time travel.
yeah.
Yes, it is gonna work, Captain America.
And he gets sucked in.
Yeah, right. And the comment
I thought
about
the baby
America's
thing was a
ass.
little gimmicky when he's old and a baby.
Yeah, he's
It's
a
like-
little baby.
It was and I'm like,
Well, it was
it
introducing
was just
the,
so weird.
the concept of, I forget what they called it. It was a paradox, right?
Well, yeah, Tony Stark comes is like
Yeah.
instead of
Running
putting
time
him
through
through
him.
time, you put time through him. It's I'm seeing the baby come out. I'm like, this is a weird
That was
mix
like a
of it.
wacky 1980s montage.
Like,
scene.
what happened to the first Avenger?
It's like, you know,
think
when you're
Captain
trying
would ever
on-
think he would ever see this shit?
Yo,
That's
for
why I
real.
love it. It was such a comic book. It's like in the old shows when you're trying on outfits and you come on, everybody's giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, he's a baby. Put him back. It was ridiculous. But
And the
Ant-Man
Hulk in
was
that
great.
scene too is good. It's like, oh no, it's like. that
Well,
whole
did you
thing-
guys like Professor Hulk?
Yeah, when he loses the taco and he gives him the taco and he struts
Yo,
off to the
that
ship
was funny.
and the music's playing, I'm like, wow.
Dude, Hulk and Rocket on the back of that truck going to New Asgard is one of my favorite moments of all time.
Yeah.
They look so adorable together.
I love you guys. You know I love
Good
Hulk.
ad-lib.
I just love the Hulk smash, man.
You don't like Professor Hulk?
I like him, but I
When
want to see him fight, man.
When he was trying to smash,
We got
and he-
robbed in Infinity War, not seeing him fight, and then we get him finally.
Oh,
And
we
then,
did see him fight. He got pieced up.
Yeah, he did. And then we see him again in the third act, and we really don't. He does not really anything.
Yeah,
That upset me.
For somehow he was still. Yeah, I can understand because he's your favorite, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can understand that too. You don't see Hulk.
he's an
hulking out.
original too.
He's an original, but I just love Professor Hulk.
when he's smashing, he's just throwing stuff.
Ah,
What did he say about it? This is degrading.
gratuitous.
Gratuitous, yeah.
I really like too when Tilda Swinton fucking knocks the soul out of him.
Yeah, that was
Yo,
awesome.
yo,
Well, that's
she
what
sunned him so heavy.
it felt like the season finale of Seinfeld, where it was they were going back and showing us all the greatest hits, bringing back your characters that you remembered, and it all fits so well within the context of the narrative of what they were trying to do. It makes sense why these characters would be brought back in these moments.
Well, we talked about it before too. It's fan service and the argument like what's too much. And
It's the best version of fan service. I
yeah,
think
but
I've
when
ever
it
seen.
serves the plot and
Yeah.
there's a reason for it, you can get away with it. So I don't.
It was
care.
like a greatest hits album that somehow worked as just a normal album, which
My-
is just rare.
My only question is, when they got snapped back, were they all just chilling in Wakanda? Like
No, we'll get to that.
what?
We'll talk about that when we get to part 3. We're kind of progressing.
He was looking at me like,
You know what just happened?
I agree with Aaron.
And we were talking about the explanation for the alternate realities. I thought it was
Confusing.
yeah.
Yeah, I
They
thought it was
showed it to us, but I'm like,
I read an article and it was like, here's the explanation for the time travel in
Was
Avengers.
it the Vox article?
I think it might have been
I
Vox.
also read
it was
that.
very long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of just accept it now. It's
I
kind of
feel
like,
like
I don't
anything
care.
with time travel, they're gonna establish rules and then they're gonna end up breaking their own rules in service for whatever they want to happen in the movie.
Yeah.
So you just have to ignore it.
I think that they just break it just to do it, and just, the audience will just let it go. Like it has to happen. So
But I think
accept
there's a clear difference though the way Banner describes it and Sorcerer Supreme does, because I think they're talking about two separate things. She's mostly concerned about removing the stones and how that can create an alternate reality, even though it's something like you would assume like Captain America meeting Captain America, that should create maybe an alternate
that should change
reality.
the past, the
But
future. Yeah.
she's just concerned about these stones creating that because I
Well-
guess it just loses the balance of that universe or that reality.
From what I understood about this, it was the Hulk was saying that if they went back and killed baby Thanos, it wouldn't change their future where
Yeah.
Thanos already snapped it. And then Tilda Swinton was saying by taking the stone out of their reality, they were going to destabilize their reality, and then that reality would become an alternate reality that she would still have to live through as someone who is in that reality, and they wouldn't because it wouldn't affect their future,
But
which is
then
why she
Bruce-
wanted the stones back.
But Bruce said he would go back to that moment, so it's like the stone never left. So
Well,
you
yeah,
take
they-
the
So
stone,
that's
but then
why
you travel.
that specific alternate reality.
So once you
wouldn't
bring the
happen.
stones back and replace them, it kind of converges back to one.
It like self-corrects.
But
I
what-
guess.
Well, in a
But
way,
when he
doesn't
takes
that
the
alternate reality still exist, though?
Yeah, because when he takes the stone, that's happening because they go
Oh,
X
no,
amount of
you know
time
why?
without bringing it back.
Well, the thing is, too, she gives it up, but she probably got it back a second later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she probably Hulk left. Captain America is probably right behind him.
Which Captain America returning the stones. Just imagine him having to inject Natalie Portman with.
All right, just stay still for a second. Just don't think about this.
Like, he's got to be low key about it.
Even seeing Rocket sneak up on her after she was like sleeping was weird. I'm gonna inject you with this.
Yeah. So.
What doesn't make sense?
Well, I was gonna say I just like how, it just adds more to Doctor Strange's character. Like she knew who Doctor Strange was. You're 5 years too early. He's doing surgery in the middle of a massacre for some reason. Maybe he's just getting.
No, he was performing surgery on injured people. Yeah.
I thought he was just doing like regular
pulling teeth,
just day-to-day surgery. But and that's the reason why she gives it. It's like, oh, if he gave up the time stone, then there was a reason. So
it's cool too when you go back, Doctor Strange, that she was reluctant to train him.
Mm-hmm. So she knew the whole time.
Even though she knew that he was going to be the best, she was still hesitant. But at the end of the day, it was Doctor Strange's plan, and this guy was ready. But yeah, the explanation for time travel, like you said, they establish rules, they break them. I like the idea of you can't change your past. It's just impossible because you've experienced it and it's concrete.
So that's their rule for Marvel for time travel.
Like but the thing is,
go through more movies.
They said that if you go back and kill Thanos, then you are creating a new timeline for the people that are living then, in which Thanos never existed. So there's a timeline out there where the snap never happened. That's just not their timeline. Mm-hmm. You can't change your future, but you can change somebody else's future.
I guess.
Which is
that alternate reality future.
But why would you do that? It's like, oh, let's go save a bunch of different why would you even care?
I mean, there is that alternate reality where Loki just has the Tesseract.
Oh yeah, that too. Forgot about that. He snagged the Tesseract and dipped. There's a reality with that now.
Well, I guess did Cap go back and just?
Or unless that's a new reality.
That's a new reality in which Loki escaped.
I feel like each jump is a new reality.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's interesting because they go back to 1970s.
Well, it's a new timeline, but then there's one reality.
I don't fucking know.
It's probably more.
The multiverse within the realities.
But yeah,
let's
go back
talk about
New Jersey.
The hammer when he lifted the hammer. Yeah, New Jersey. New Jersey was great.
Yeah.
I love that with Tony Stark and his father.
Winter Soldier call back there.
Yes.
Multiple occasions. Yeah, that was a nice scene. Felt like it kind of.
The first time I saw it, I thought this is dragging on. I don't care. But at the end, when he says thank you for everything.
Well, that's going on, but obviously at the end, it kind of makes it more,
And knowing that he dies.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you guys think that since
Drake and Josh fucking lady screwed
the
him.
movie manager?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That threw me out of it. I was like, why cast her?
I think someone clapped on the
Get
Thursday.
Mowgli from Zack and Cody.
I think someone clapped on the Thursday we went.
Mowgli?
Is that his name? Yeah, I think somebody did.
Mosley.
Mosby.
No, it's Mosley.
Yeah, Mosley.
Mosby.
Don't you guys think that maybe Tony Stark could have told his dad who he was and he would have just understood? And they could have had a deeper moment?
I don't think he wanted to fucking break his dad's mind.
It's too much.
I think at that point he came to peace. You're like a fly on the wall in that situation.
But it's so
crazy. He was trying to get into the psyche of what he felt about being a parent, and it made him appreciate his father even more. But if he told him that he was his son, it would have kind of ruined that moment.
Yeah, he probably would have fucked up childhood too. It's like, I met you. It's like,
well, yeah, because
he takes after his mother.
His dad tells him what Stark told him.
Yes, right, exactly.
That's maybe cool. that moment doesn't happen, or.
There was a man named Howard Potts who once told me.
Yeah. No, that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. And then you had Cap seeing Peggy again.
Even though I just want to say he got real close to that window and she didn't see him at all.
She's working.
It was one-sided.
Was it?
No, I don't know. I'm just defending these.
Really, though, you don't see him.
Shield's going crazy right now. Peggy has to get to work. She has no nonsense to look at window people. And this is where we first meet new Thanos, right?
Oh, I was going to say Michael Douglas as young Hank Pym.
Good
and you see the old school.
Looked exactly like Emilio.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had him stand in.
That de-aging tech is fucking crazy.
It is weird, man.
They must look at
Even
that,
for
these
Howard
old
Stark,
actors.
They might have just dyed the hair, mustache. He's still a young-looking guy.
Yeah, no, you can dye his hair. He's probably like mid-50s.
Mm-hmm.
But to see that, you notice it, the helmet?
Yeah.
That's like fucking Ant-Man #1 in Marvel Comics.
And the whole, the bit where he's like, oh, your particles got loose and some people touched them, and he's freaking out. I really enjoyed that. It's I don't even know what I want to say about it.
It's amazing how they hit on every single goddamn movie within the MCU.
I was trying to think of like, what are other points in time where they can get the Infinity Stones easier, but I'm like, just take me to the cool parts. It's like, and it was cool too seeing we've kind of like the sorcerers were fighting in that war too. Like they were taking out a couple
during
of
New York.
Chitauri, but then we got our first new Thanos introduction with Nebula and Gamora.
Yes,
Elseworlds, I guess. And it's cool seeing like what they were doing during Guardians. Right, again, to get that perspective. Again, it's a perspective on a movie that we haven't seen before, with just different perspectives. And I kind of like. I mean, I know I didn't like the different quote unquote Thanos, but it kind of makes sense the way he turned into just like like a straight madman. Where in Infinity War Infinity War is very ideal. What do I want to say?
He's idealistic.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that Thanos.
Because when we see him in Infinity War, he justifies his evil by trying to help people. And this, when he realizes it doesn't,
he seems worn out in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Like the chase, like from 2014 to 2018, has been exhausting because he keeps failing. And at this point, it's, I need to get this done. And that's why he has these moments with Stark where he says that he respects him. And when he grabs Scarlet Witch's head and says, I understand your pain, my child. But in 2014, like you said, he's got a bloodlust.
He's a savvy vet in Infinity War.
Yeah. He's like old LeBron when LeBron dragged that team to the finals. And 2014 Thanos was like, 09 LeBron, just playing off athleticism.
No, but I think just that, like when he saw in Nebula's memories how he won and he's inevitable and it's fate. That's his destiny was to die. But just seeing how everyone reacted to that, like no one was grateful. They remember like he killed half the population. Like he was expecting them to be like, "Thank you, Thanos. You really, really helped us out." And just getting that pushback, he's like, "You know what? You ungrateful pieces of shit. I'm gonna wipe all of you out. And I'm gonna create my new world, and I'll be God."
Yeah, but he doesn't deal with planets like Earth with Avengers that can fight back against him.
Yes.
So he destroys a planet and then he dips.
When Captain America, a mortal man, was able to beat him up like the way he did, it's the first time he took it personally. And I also feel it confirms the idea that I had about Thanos in the first movie. Everybody says he feels like he's the hero of his own story. He's really just a lunatic. He just because he's charismatic and he's well-spoken doesn't mean that he's not batshit fucking crazy.
But if it was that...
And 2014 Thanos is batshit fucking crazy without all the philosophical
without all the age on him.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think to see the Thanos we saw developed in Infinity War, even though it's the same character pretty much, but seeing that character from the last movie develop into this just straight up bloodlust madman, it would have been more impactful.
But I think he's
more mature though.
Yeah, it was he would be going backwards almost in his development.
But him
because he aged into that person we saw in Infinity War. If he reverted back to that, I guess that would have worked as well. But
just the experience.
I enjoyed the almost reverse development in a way.
There could have been a way that they had Thanos win. This is destiny. Like they got the stones for him in this timeline now.
They got Infinity War Thanos to join the team.
Yeah, right.
Imagine that.
No. I'm just saying like destiny plays itself out, which is a theme that they're trying to go with, and since the snap happens, he got the stones one by one. And now in Endgame, he got the stones because they got it for him. So I thought, I don't know, it wasn't going to happen, but I think it's kind of cool how maybe it could have happened.
I love the new gauntlet.
Oh, yeah, when the Hulk snap?
Yes. Hulk snap.
Yeah.
And Hulk. I love how Thor wanted to do it.
Yeah, Thor.
I'll do it. He's waddling all
Thor
drunk.
could probably... Captain Marvel could probably take it more. Or
comic book wise, Thor is stronger than Hulk.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Ted's fucking heated.
No, my brother always told me that Hulk's like the strongest comic book character.
But I always hear
Superman.
this thing about when he gets angrier, he gets stronger.
Professor Hulk is not angry.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like about him.
But Wolverine also killed Hulk in the comics.
It doesn't matter.
Because he ate him.
I mean, Hawkeye also killed Bruce Banner.
Yeah, I mean...
But he was Bruce.
No,
Everyone take a chill pill.
The Hulk fanboys are... You Hulk fanboys. Yeah, the new gauntlet, putting the Infinity Stones, bringing everybody back, and then Thanos is there. He travels into the future. And the two Nebulas...
I did This wasn't something I was expecting at all, that Nebula would like connect.
Yeah,
But
that was an interesting wrinkle. I like
Oh,
that.
that had to happen though, because everything was going so smooth. You know, they needed something.
Yeah, I just didn't
You
expect
knew
it to be
Thanos
that.
had to. Once she said that we're not the only ones looking for the stones.
I
Yeah,
thought they were
it was-
just gonna run into each other. I thought they
Right.
were gonna run into each other, and Thanos was gonna figure out what happened. Not that Nebula was gonna like.
pick up her Wi-Fi.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, you're saying it was
the
clever.
greatest Wi-Fi in the universe,
You
apparently.
think?
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking back on it. You think 2014 Thanos like watched the Battle on Titan since once Nebula got there?
Maybe. Oh yeah, he was probably like, "Oh, look at that move! Throw the planet. He's gonna throw the planet."
It's like, yo, Ma, you seeing this shit? I just threw a moon.
I see you, Si.
You're recording this, right?
Oh man, it's like 17 Doctor Strangers. How am I gonna do this?
Proxima, get in here.
That fight was crazy.
Yeah, there was Thanos attacks, and then the Trinity of Marvel go and confront him, and I have to say, man, I think that's the best fight I've ever seen in the MCU.
Well,
We've been waiting
Hands
for that
down.
for fucking years,
Hands
dude.
down.
Well, I've always said, like, what's the one moment I want to see? It's
Yeah.
Captain America picking up that fucking hammer and start beating the bricks off of Thanos.
Beating the bricks
Dude,
out of him.
when he started swinging it,
Yo,
like
he's
a
toying
lasso,
with it, man.
yeah. That one move,
It's a
man,
weird
when he-
flex.
It is a weird flex. He had the thunder going. He had the lightning going through him. It was all. He pieced him up, dude.
Yeah.
Is there something in the comics with that? Because
Yeah, he
I've
picks
been
up
reading,
the hammer.
Well, no, like I'm reading online. Like, so is he the god of thunder now too, or is he just worthy enough to hold a hammer and
No,
he
I
can
think
use its powers?
the
Well, when
spell
Jane-
Odin put on it was that I guess it will come to anybody who it deems worthy.
Well, Marissa, when
So
Jane
just-
Foster gets the hammer, she gets all the powers of Thor, right?
Yeah, and like Lady Thor, I guess.
Yeah.
When she becomes Thor in the comics, she does have the like thunder. Like she can
And the
wield
suit
lightning
and everything. Yeah.
But it's not that Thor loses his power at all, right? It's not like only one person.
No,
can be
the
worthy.
hammer was only for him to channel the lightning, but then he's able to do that on his own in
Yeah, from
Ragnarok.
Right.
It was just a tool for him.
I think it
For
was
Captain America, he can't channel lightning on his own ever.
So
I
he
want to
needs the
say
hammer.
wielding the hammer gives you some kind of protection, I guess.
Because he got punched by
Like
Thanos.
if you are worthy for the hammer, it won't like kill you to use
You
it.
got punched in Infinity War too.
Yeah, but Thanos threw him on the ground and then
He took that.
clobbered him.
He took that punch.
should have killed him.
He had his helmet on.
Do you think the Mjolnir gives him immunity like that? Does he get super strength?
I think that was just like
Adrenaline
we're not
boost
supposed to
at
think
least.
that much about that punch.
That punch should have killed him. The punch in Infinity War should have fucking
A couple
killed
like
him
the
too.
fight secret, like the
But also like Cap is enhanced. It's not like he has
he's not a human.
yeah.
When Thor reaches for when he puts all of his hands out and he gets both of them,
Yo.
and then he does the move where he throws one up and fucking hammers it into it.
Yeah.
He
Or when
hits
Cap
Iron
through
Man,
the
though.
fucking shield. Yeah, he hit Iron
Yeah.
Man.
Poor guy.
Oh, too, when he gives Iron Man the thunder boost and Thanos starts fucking whipping that sword.
Yo, he's nice with that
Yeah.
sword, yo.
He's
Oh,
a problem.
man.
I love fast Thanos.
He is a
man.
problem.
I love
Yeah.
when he's throwing hands like that.
He's a little agile.
Well, you brought up the point. I was wondering, how can that sword fend off Stormbreaker?
I'm not exactly sure if this has been confirmed or not, but I read that Thanos' weapon is made out of the same stuff as the hammer, which is like magic resistant, or it's Uru in the comics at least.
Well, he probably got it made from
Nidavellir?
Eitri. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nidavellir.
I mean, he did go there. And
Right.
I
It
don't.
does
I mean, I don't know if
return,
in 2014 he's at the point where he's created the gauntlet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
did
when he had
return
the
to him.
gauntlet.
It was
No, he has a gauntlet in Age of Ultron.
Does
Right.
he?
Yes.
Post credit.
Is Age of Ultron? What year was Age of Ultron?
2015.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was after Guardians.
So we have to assume that post credits almost takes place like 3 years after Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Makes no sense in the context of that movie, which had like nothing to do with the Infinity Stones except
It's
for
a little tease.
yeah. It's
Well,
a little-
Vision's a huge part of that movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't about Thanos trying to acquire them.
Yeah, true. And then I mean,
Well, one thing I liked about that fight too was that Captain Marvel didn't really join in until the end, which I was kind of worried that Captain Marvel would just come in and save the day.
Yeah.
But she didn't do that. I mean, she helped, but she didn't steal any limelight, which I liked a lot because this was an original Avengers movie. So I was happy that they did that.
Well, it was great too when they all stopped firing and they start shooting at her and they're like, something entered the atmosphere. She's just like a bullet that ran through that
she was
shit.
awesome, man. When she fucking cut that ship in half, and
The sixth man of the year.
Well, when they all she's Lou Will out there, just putting up buckets.
Well, I think
when they all came together, man.
Well, yeah,
that
I
was
mean,
like a Wakanda Thor arriving in Wakanda times a million.
everybody's fucking coming out. I guess Doctor Strange, like during that meantime, like once Thor Hulk snapped, they all came back and like, all right, what's going on here?
Once like
Let's get everyone together. Let's
Amy
Actually,
fucking
yeah,
figure it
Circles
out.
appeared,
Okay.
I was like, no, they're all coming.
So is that how it was that Strange knew everything that was happening? So he knew that Hulk was going to do this.
Well, they all
So
came.
he got them all
Well, the
together.
thing is, they all came back and their memories were still there, so
Yeah.
they all knew what was happening.
I think they came back.
Strange saw where they would be, I guess.
Well, they came back where they last were.
Exactly right. So
okay.
I guess Strange
Everyone
was
was
on
on-
Titan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Spider-Man was on Titan.
Yeah, and he had seen the one future that they might have won, and so he was like,
Okay, if we win.
He knew right away where to go.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was like, I gotta take a chance on this, and if not, then everyone's just here.
And you got the Avengers assemble. He calls Mjolnir. That
Well,
was
it did
fucking
take him
awesome.
some
That was
time.
dope, bro.
Because it was about like 10, 15 minutes
Yeah.
until they all got there.
I mean, I'm sure like when you come back from being dusted into oblivion, it's gonna take you a few minutes to adjust.
Need a juice box, stretch your legs. Avengers Assemble, though, man.
Yo,
The first time in a movie.
that was a great scene, like the shot of all the Avengers. And like you see Ant-Man in the back. He's just a giant Ant-Man. You know, he just said everyone.
was
For
like-
some reason, I got the
The
most
mo-
pump when the Guardians
was-
showed up.
Yeah.
And Doctor
me too.
Strange, man, he just fucking floats in, all fucking
That
cocky.
scene was
I
like
love that
so.
cloak.
He's-
It was such
Love
a
that cloak.
satisfying
Yeah.
scene. Like I've never been more like I was just so like pleased. Like
yeah.
I watched it and I was like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly. I was fucking going
But
crazy.
the first time I saw it, it flew by. But on the second watch, you kind of enjoy all the little moments that each character gets.
Well,
You can look out in the picture and see something that you missed maybe, which was nice.
I
You know
think-
who I loved? Pepper Potts in the Iron Man suit.
And it's the one that Tony was building for her in the
That's a
beginning.
clean fucking suit. And Gwyneth Paltrow said she's not coming back, but man, she would have been great to take up the mantle.
Well, we got the biggest. Like, when we saw it this time, it was. I think Black Panther got a big hand.
Yeah,
Star Lord
yeah.
got a big hand, and then
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man got the biggest. When he came
Spider-Man
back.
always got the biggest. And
Yeah.
all three times I've seen it, everybody
Assume-
loves that boy.
I like
I
Black
love
Panther.
him so much. I was so hyped.
People
They
lost their
opened
shit
up
when
the
he came
portal.
out.
They opened up the portal for Titan, and I saw them, and I was like, okay, but where's Peter?
We got like a,
Where
we
is
got,
he?
Where is he?
we got Star Lord. Everyone's like, yeah, Star. And Spider-Man kind of like took the end of his cheer and
Yeah,
just busted
yeah.
up. But I think when Black Panther came, I'm like, oh, it's time to go. And he has everyone behind him, and it's just Wakanda opens up. I'm like, holy
Oh
fucking
man, when they were
shit!
like, Bombay.
Yeah.
Chill. So I was sick.
That was insane.
And when they were playing hot potato with the gauntlet, that was great. When
Yeah.
Black Panther went up to Hawkeye and says, Clint, give it to me.
Well, I forgot who
He was moving.
I forgot where I heard this.
Yeah, he started booking it, dude.
Someone made a great point. I can't give the credit because I can't remember, but that's just like a callback from Civil War when he says, "I'm Clint," and he says, "I don't care."
Right, yeah.
Oh,
now
yeah,
he
that's
remembers.
awesome.
Yeah.
God,
And yeah,
I
they
love
were
these
running. They were
movies.
playing like schoolyard bullshit. Fucking
Yeah.
Instant
Spider-Man
kill
was
mode.
playing.
longest yard.
Yeah, yes. He tosses it off to Spider-Man. Dude, the fact that we saw... What's the name of the horses that the Valkyries ride?
Pegasus.
We saw Spider-Man riding a Pegasus with Valkyrie holding an infinity gauntlet with all 6 stones.
Yeah, for real.
Can you imagine going back in time and telling somebody after Iron Man that Spider-Man would be riding a Pegasus with Valkyrie and an infinity gauntlet?
Well, it's like the stakes. Like
It's so insane.
Like Winter Soldier, it was like an internal struggle like, between two groups in this agency.
Yeah, if they
Now
can see in the
it's
future.
Thanos.
it's
I love to.
but it works.
They had the Maw, they had the fucking Proxima Midnight, they had the big guy, they had the whole crew, the Chitauri, the big things. Like, it was fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I just want to point out, there was a solid 5 seconds where I thought that Spider-Man caught the hammer, and I
Oh.
almost lost my mind.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's worthy.
I was like, I knew they weren't going to do it. Like in my head, I was like, this isn't happening. They're going to give Cap his own moment. No one else is going to pick up the hammer. But there was a slight second where it looked like Peter had grabbed it, but instead he just webbed it. But
Yeah, he was hanging
Well, going
on.
back to that, like, first charge, that shot, it's like Age of Ultron times a million.
Yeah.
You have Ant-Man in the back, you have Star-Lord, War Machine, and Iron Man flying over, and everyone running on the ground.
The power couple shot of Tony and Pepper.
Yeah.
And they went back to back. I was like, damn, that's a sexy couple, man.
Yeah.
And then also
reunion.
Hope and
I'm like,
Scott Lang.
first I was like, second time, like, how did Pepper learn how to work the machine? But I'm like, who gives a fuck?
She's worn in Iron Man 3.
Yeah, but,
Briefly.
briefly. And
It's probably all in the system anyway.
Well, I think it
no, but
hooks
like
up-
I didn't care. Like it was just so awesome. Where I'm like, who gives a
Well,
shit?
she's had 5 years.
Yeah.
She might have been training.
That Spider-Man and Stark reunion was
Dude,
nice.
it pisses me off so much. Oh, that was such a great reunion, man.
Yeah.
He literally Tony
Did
looked
you notice
like,
that they shoot it from behind Tom Holland, and then they add in the lines? Because if you look at Tom Holland's mouth, it's not matched up to the dialogue at all. So they're not giving that man a script.
Oh yeah, they've said it a bunch of times. Like
They
What?
all the
added in the
characters-
dialogue for that scene for Tom Holland.
more like a lot of the characters in this movie, like that were more minor, like I guess in the scale of this movie, they all were saying like they didn't get a script or they got like black pages with like their one line and everything else is redacted. And you know what? I get it.
It's not your
Can't
movie.
trust
It's not your movie too. You know.
It was a sweet moment, though, man.
Tony literally looked like he had seen the whole world again.
And he hugs him, and
Me
Spider-Man's
too.
like,
I was like, this is how I
This is
look
nice.
as Peter
This is
Parker
nice.
too.
yeah. That's literally how you look at Peter. I can't believe you thought he was worthy enough to grab the hammer.
Listen, I wanted it to happen so much that I convinced myself.
There's only
it
2
did.
people that can grab the hammer besides Thor: Captain America.
Superman.
Peter Parker.
Oh, I was gonna say Batman. My favorite hero.
Well, Batman doesn't kill, so he's
And
not
Yoda.
worthy.
That is true. Maybe Zack Snyder was thinking, yeah, you want Batman to grab that hammer?
Yeah.
Captain Marvel grab, you think?
She grabbed the gauntlet from Peter, and that's when she first came down to save Peter, and then you get that group shot of all the female Avengers coming together.
That scene though did make
The
me
feminists
think.
are taking over.
That's gonna be.
I loved it.
Oh no, I'm just not
That
looking
people
for.
will complain about it though.
No, yeah, I'm just not
They
not
really
looking
are.
forward for people complaining about it. That's just
that
gonna
scene
be
though really
so
highlighted how much I
stupid.
didn't want Black Widow to die.
Yeah,
Oh,
she should have been in
shit.
that shot.
Like she should have been leading that charge, in my opinion.
Well, the best part is Spider-Man's like, how's she gonna get through all that? And Okoye says she's not alone. And then they do nothing to clear a path for her.
No, they don't. Well, I mean, I'm
She
not-
didn't even need them at all.
That's
But
a cool shot.
Yeah, it's
Fuck,
okay. All right, ladies. Even though
take out one guy each, and then I'll just fly through.
yeah, right.
Well, she goes right into fucking Thanos, right? And 'cause
Dude,
well,
What a
no,
throw by
he
Thanos. with
he
toss.
destroys the van, and then so she just fights Thanos, and that was an awesome fight too.
When he headbutts her,
Yeah, it's kind of like he headbutted Thor, and Thor went down. He headbutted Captain Marvel. She's like, "What are you
Didn't
doing?"
even-
Dude, she's so powerful.
It's like when Wonder
I love
Woman
it.
headbutted Superman.
yes,
What?
right. And when Thanos rips out the Power Stone from the glove and just puts it on
That
his
was my
hand.
a
favorite
great
fucking
move,
scene.
yeah.
That was awesome.
That was so awesome. She was like fucking getting up. He's like, "You all right? All right, I'll pull the Power Stone off and fucking send her in the next week."
She did save him though. I mean, she saved the snap.
Oh yeah, that was
You-
fucking.
Yeah.
She came right back, saved the snap. It was so awesome too.
Yeah.
That's when I got worried that she was gonna steal the show when she did that.
Yeah, people kept saying that. She didn't, but she played her role.
Yeah.
No, I said that's when
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna do it,
Yeah.
but she didn't.
Well, you were somebody next to me. I guess we don't even put this in. There was a couple next to me with the showing we just saw. When they did the female shot, the boyfriend was booing, and his girlfriend was like poking him, like, "Stop!" So
That's so
obnoxious.
annoying.
Yeah, it's
Loser.
so obnoxious. Like, you have a girlfriend, dude.
But
keep that
also
in, that's
just
funny.
about Captain Marvel, her character in this movie very much read that they had not started her actual solo movie yet.
Oh yeah.
She was just doing things, which it's whatever. She didn't have like a monster role in this movie or anything.
I kind of liked it too when he's like, well, Peter, he's trying to introduce himself to Valkyrie when he's on a unicorn, Pegasus, and Captain Marvel comes like, "Hey, I'm Peter Parker." It's like, "What's up, Peter Parker?"
You got something for me?
Yeah.
Teasing him a bit. But yeah, Thanos fends her off, and then it's up to Iron Man to get those stones. And
Doctor Strange with the slowly
yeah.
putting up one finger.
He was just stopping a fucking. He was like a one-man dam, pretty much. For
It
like,
reminded me of that scene from
One
X-Men
damn
2
strange.
yeah.
with Jean Grey at the
Right.
very end. That's just it just reminded me of that. Like
The phoenix comes from the water.
You gonna take care of this?
Be a good
It's time to go.
For it to end between Thanos and Iron Man, and I've said it a million times, my favorite scene in Infinity War is the fight between Iron Man and Thanos, because they are two sides of the same coin. And to see it end where it began, with this one character, where you see how small the universe started, a movie taking a chance on an actor whose career was spiraling out of control.
he had to pay his own insurance for the first movie.
Showed up, he said, in a beat down car, the best suit that he had, but it's the best superhero casting by far. There's not a close second. That moment to me is going to make me cry every single time. For Thanos to bring back the line, "I am inevitable," that he saw on his tape, looks at the gauntlet, Stark's got them, and you just knew it was coming. I am Iron Man.
I don't know why I thought he was going to say Groot.
Groot.
It's the perfect cap to his character. As Teddy was saying before, he didn't want Captain Marvel to do it. And I think it had to be, I've always said, like, it had to be Captain America or Iron Man to have the finishing blow. A lot of people thought, like, want to see Nebula do it or Gamora or something along those lines. And those all would have made sense, but those two are the cornerstones of this franchise. So
yeah, I think that's the main difference between what they took from the comics on this and how in the narrative, like, of all of these movies, it is about Captain America and Iron Man. But in the comics, it would make more sense, or it did make more sense for Nebula to be the one to get Thanos in the end, from what I remember.
Yes, she does. She puts on the gauntlet too.
yeah, Captain Marvel has a gauntlet. Nebula, Adam Warlock.
Yeah, a bunch of people have the.
Yeah.
Well, the comic, I mean, it's like you said, it has, because of the arcs of the movies, that it has focused so much on the relationship between Tony Stark and Captain America.
But that's why I wish you were talking about, like, how your favorite moment was Infinity War was Thanos and Tony Stark. And that's why I kind of wish it was the same Thanos.
Yes.
I think it would have been a little more impactful. Although this Thanos, technically, in their timeline, still sent the Chitauri to New York, and that was like...
And he knows Iron Man, I think, at this point, because he knew the Avengers when he saw the tape. It would have been more impactful, yeah, but in a way, you see that same fear that Iron Man had when looking at Thanos in Infinity War. Now that fear was on Thanos' face when he sees Iron Man gather all those Infinity Stones, makes a snap, makes a sacrifice, and it's such an emotional death with Peter Parker coming over, Rhodey, and Pepper. You know, the three most important people in his life besides his daughter, which was another unexpected. Yeah, and Happy, right. But the relationship he had with his daughter, that was great too.
Yeah, he played that dad perfect. It's a lot different than, it's not the Tony Stark we see in the movies.
That's what the development of this character through this 22 movie run has been. He's one of the best fictional characters of all time, and it's one of the best arcs.
Dude, the development in this movie alone with him.
Yes.
The ups and downs he had.
I know.
It was like a whole series.
I feel like child acting can sometimes be, like, noticeably bad. What a great child actor.
She was perfect.
Just acted and sounded just like a regular little kid.
All her facial expressions, too.
Yeah.
So I'm working on some shit here. She gives him a sideways.
My favorite line is when he's like, "Now go to bed or I'll sell all your toys."
Yeah, it was very cute. And the final goodbye that he gives to her, when he's basically saying goodbye to the MCU. And he talks about, where it began and all these cosmic forces of light and darkness. It's going to get me every time, man. I've cried every time I've seen it. And saying goodbye to this character, like we said, there had to be consequences for this movie. And to see him go, it's tough, but it's the end to the best character that the MCU has had to offer.
Yeah, he's definitely had the most consistent development. And movies occasionally, like, they'll do some, like, sketchy things with the characters, but I think Iron Man has had the most consistent story arc.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm Team Cap till I die, so...
Well, he's my favorite. Captain's my favorite, but I admit that it's just Iron Man's. Yeah. It's his franchise, man.
But yeah, and then he had the funeral scene. That shot when they pan over to everybody.
So good.
Yeah.
So emotional.
Hit you right in the
Fury
feels.
coming in the end. I thought Captain Marvel just, like, chilling on the top step with nobody.
Well, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I don't really know him too well.
Yeah.
I'll stand back here. And then
the reef too. It said it was from the very first movie, proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
You saw that in one of the trailers.
Yeah,
the flashbacks. You got that kid from Iron Man 3. Right?
What was he doing there?
He kept in touch all these years. Had a nice moment with Happy, and
he's like looking at Peter Parker like, "You bastard."
Yeah,
that was the first one.
He had a nice moment with. Well, you have the video message he left. That was very heartfelt, and then you had the moment with Happy and his daughter, where it's like
didn't see Happy for a while either.
Young child. She really can't grasp the concept of death, and she just wants cheeseburgers just like her dad.
Well, the writing was great too when he says, "Your dad used to love cheeseburgers," and she says, "Okay." It's great writing, and cheeseburger, it goes back to Iron Man 1 as well.
Yeah,
when he got the Burger King,
American cheeseburger.
American cheeseburger.
If it's Canadian, I'll know.
I wonder how much Audi paid to be in that movie.
Dude,
every fucking
pulled up in
Avengers.
that fucking clean whip to Tony Stark.
Yeah,
Tony's house in the cabin. Oh my god!
And when Tony pulled up in front of Cap,
like, damn,
that was an aggressive pull up.
2022.
pulled past him.
I mean, he did discover time travel, or he He figured out time travel
Within a night. I love that
Yo,
in
for
these
real.
movies.
Oh, and when I leaned to you and said, "There's no way he built that in a week or less." The
Yeah,
whole
no way.
quantum realm thing.
No. Who's funding this?
Tony.
Yeah, right. How is that building
the
so?
Galactic Empire? The movie ends where they have to send Captain America back in time to put all the stones in their proper places, and we won't discuss that, but we will discuss. Oh, well, I guess we have to
I
discuss.
feel like
the
that could have
plot
been a
twist.
movie.
That could be a fucking spinoff.
Yo,
Yeah,
for
with
real.
adventures traveling through time. But when he came back at the end, little Manny turns to me and goes, "Oh, is he a bitch again?"
I thought it was like that too, because he had to have gone back and not done what he did with the army.
Right. They kind of tease that in a way, where he looks fragile, he looks skinny, but he's an older man. And I have to just say, the old man makeup, I think it's the best old person makeup I've ever seen.
He
in
looks
a movie.
good.
He
Yeah.
looks like Joe Biden.
That's to announce his campaign.
He aged well.
He did age well, yeah. He's a good-looking old man.
But here's the thing. Now,
Being you
wait.
go.
So, how does it work? Because he's still Captain America, does he not help with anything that happened? Like, doesn't him going back in time and doing what he did and like past his timestamp to come back,
You
doesn't
can
that
never
alter it?
No, you can't change it.
This is, I mean, what I'm assuming about it is that the reality they've lived in has always had two Captain Americas, and it's just like he was always going to make that decision, and that's why it doesn't.
It's the same reality.
Few things though, and I'm not paradox and whatever time. It's too much.
It's the
but
bigwigs.
being a big Cap guy, I guess it leaves the door open for him to come back some way.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Chris
Somehow.
Evans is definitely.
I know, but hey, you never know.
He's in a spinoff, isn't he?
I kind of
He's done.
No, isn't there a TV show that he's in?
no.
No, that's
Sam and
Cap.
Bucky.
Yeah, Sam and Bucky.
I wasn't expecting this end for Cap. It's kind of nice, like he finally got to live the life that he always wanted, but he couldn't because he was too worried about. He had to save the day. Like he couldn't sit by while these bad things go on, but he kind of goes back and sits by while bad things continuously go on. And you could say like, well, he was frozen for all those years, so he's not really making a difference. So he can just, I guess you can justify that in his mind. But when you go back to Winter Soldier 2, and this could be either genius writing or a kind of like a cop out.
Just luck. They lucked
Yeah,
into it.
I'm pretty sure when he goes to visit Peggy, she has Alzheimer's, so she obviously you can't, it makes sense why she didn't recognize, or maybe she was just confused, like, wait, what? Why are you young again? Even though I spent my whole life with you, or
Well, in Agent Carter, she has a secret husband that they never show
yes,
in the show.
and it's a secret husband, and he sees the picture in Winter Soldier of her and the two boy and a little girl.
Well, everybody's saying those aren't his kids.
It
They're
has to
saying
be.
that she had a previous husband before Cap, and those are her kids with him.
But he went back to after she got divorced or something, or her husband died.
Maybe.
That's
Because the rumor was that, I don't know. Maybe, well, then he kissed his great niece.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like when she was born at the hospital, it was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kiss you one day."
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, or like just
It was awkward enough.
yeah. It's actually weird to think about it. What are divorce rates?
Right.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, what
oh
do you
wow,
think of-
Peggy, you really fucking stink. Like I tell you, we spent like 2 months together, and I thought you were something special, but this is not gonna work out. I should have stayed in the future.
What do you think about Falcon getting the shield?
Well, it's obviously either Falcon or Bucky, and I like how when he says bye to Bucky, Bucky's like, "All right, we've talked, we know what's happening here."
Yeah, I think he knew that
Yeah.
Sam was always going to be the successor.
So we didn't see the Bucky Captain closure on screen, but it's implied that they've had that moment, and
They had it before he left, though.
yeah,
Was that a line from the first Captain America when Bucky goes to war? Where he says, try not to do anything stupid. And I think Cap says to him,
Mhm.
Steve Rogers says to him, you're taking all the stupid with you.
hmm
I think that was a reference to the first Avenger.
Yeah, I think it's when he was still small or frail.
Yes.
And Bucky leaves
I think they're at like the,
at that fair or some shit.
yes.
Yeah.
it's nice when Sam kind of friend cucked Bucky, huh? It's like, Cap likes me more than you. He gave me the shield.
He really did.
Well, it's like, maybe don't be a Russian spy. Or
Russian
whatever.
psycho that kills my other friend's parents.
But if it's not Sam, who else would it be?
Well,
It
it's Sam
can't
or
be
Sam or
T'Challa.
Bucky.
It can't. Well, I'm saying to take the lead.
It's
For the Avengers, it
Yeah.
could be Sam.
Well, it's always
I
Captain
think-
America. It's
yeah.
de facto leader. So
Well, so I'm
And he's a
saying, who else
natural
could it be?
leader.
Because Captain Marvel's not going to be. Captain Marvel's not always going to be there because she's got the whole universe to take care of.
She's going to be in the next Avengers, though.
T'Challa's got the whole Wakanda.
He's going to be in the next Avengers, too.
Spider-Man's got Queens. He's going to be the next
he's gonna-
Avengers, too.
Yeah.
He's in where is he? Paris, Europe, somewhere in Europe.
That's why I think.
Well, we gotta talk about that at the end because I have a ton of questions for that. But yeah, it was a nice moment when he gets it to Sam, kind of like, Bucky was his old friend, but Sam was his first real friend when he came back, I guess. You see that in Winter Soldier, Civil War, just that relationship developed. He stood by him in that whole conflict. So it was a nice moment, and it's interesting to see Anthony Mackie in a larger role in the MCU. That's going to be fun to see. It's a big moment for him, right? His career. You're now Captain America in the biggest movie franchise of all time.
He's a great
I
actor.
think Sebastian Stan was like, fuck.
Definitely. I remember they came out and said in interviews that there shouldn't be another Captain America. It's only Steve Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
But when they told Anthony Mackie, he was like, fuck yeah, I'll be Captain America.
Yeah.
No.
You got to redo that. You got to redo that contract, though. You got to up those dollars.
Well, Bucky is. I'm pretty sure. What's his face? What's the guy's name? Sebastian Stan. He signed on for more movies.
Yeah,
And
I think I
Anthony Mackie-
enjoyed the Winter Soldier character more than Falcon. I felt like we got, especially that dynamic in the movie Winter Soldier, him being probably one of my favorite villains in the MCU, and I feel like after that though he kind of took a back seat and Sam was featured more, so it makes sense. And I think either way you could have gone, either way you would have went with that choosing would have been fine.
So who are you seeing for the lineup in 3 years?
Well, it's interesting too. You had the Falcon Winter Soldier series. Is that going to be Captain America and Winter Soldier?
Could
Do they
be.
not do any Captain America movies and
Captain
just have
Bucky.
the series?
No, there's no way that they're not going to not do Captain America movies.
Well, if they're doing a series. It's either a prequel.
Well, no, you keep Captain America.
I don't
Can't
know.
do a prequel.
Yeah, so
You could do Cap and Bucky, but you have to make Captain America movies.
yeah, it's gonna make a ton of money.
Yeah, they'll make. He's such a big name now, and especially that would be monumental to have a character like Sam Wilson. It was big in the comics. It would be big in the movies. But the next lineup, I can see Sam Wilson, Spider-Man, if Sony lets them keep him.
If Sony takes away Spider-Man from the MCU, I don't know what I'll do.
I think it's going to happen.
I think I'll become depressed.
You think it'll happen that they'll take him?
Yes,
That might be cool.
because they stumbled ass backwards into 900 million with Venom, and they're thinking, "Oh, we're better now."
Which
Yeah,
the
you
concept
figured
of
it
a
out.
Venom movie without Spider-Man in it was already wild to me.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is Venom 2 is going to also
Flop.
suck, and yeah, and
And
then it
make
will-
money.
And no, but it won't make money this time because that always happens, because it was such a big name, and I think that's why it made so much money.
Well, the whole Far
I
From
think-
Home thing, like the first thing I thought after this movie, I'm like, how is this movie? They're in a high school field trip, so all the friends got snapped because it's a 5-year jump. Are they gonna be in 2025, 2024 in Far From Home? Because I can easily seeing them being like, oh, it's 2019 because we are Sony and we're stupid and we kind of fucked up this.
Sony's going to be like,
Spider-Man.
it's
I think it was honestly a matter of
3 months after Infinity War.
I feel like Marvel, I think they straight up just didn't communicate with Sony about their 5-year thing. 'Cause Sony was like, we're gonna start making Far From Home.
Well, Marvel makes the
whatever.
movie.
Do they? They
Yeah,
actually make
Feige
it?
makes the movie,
But they come back and
and
like
then Sony gets the money.
they're back in high school, but like half of the high school students should be in college. So Ned obviously got snapped.
Yeah, they all got snapped, that's believable to me, because 5 out of the 6 Guardians got snapped. So it's
mean-
believable to me that Flash and Ned and
Well, you can have one of your
MJ.
old buddies buy you beer now. You'll be like 22. That's worth it, I think.
I think
Yeah,
I
it's
would
just
say
5 years.
Homecoming had a pretty solid cast, so I think it was just they didn't want to have to recast anyone.
Yeah.
Like if they knew about the 5-year thing before they started shooting Far From Home, or before they had even written a script.
they have to have known about it, right?
We'll see. We'll
I
see in
mean,
a couple months.
I honestly have no idea.
If they don't know, then that's just gonna piss me off so much.
If
It's like
they-
with Nick
if-
Fury saying,
Well, they ruined the timeline from Homecoming, too. They didn't ruin it, but there are some minor...
no, they straight up ruined it. The 8-year. Yeah, they ruined the timeline. But the Russo brothers came out and said that's just wrong
Yeah.
to ignore that. What were you to say, Marissa?
I mean, like if it turns out like this does take place after Endgame, and it's like all his friends conveniently got snapped, I'm just gonna ignore it.
I don't care.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Like I feel like Far From Home. If Far From Home flops, I'll just be
Well, he only has
sad
like 3 friends anyway.
for all the I'll just
Yeah, it's only 4 of them. That's the thing. Conveniently, none of the original Avengers got snapped. I mean, you know.
Part of me feels like Thanos didn't snap the original Avengers to see what would happen. to really see if they try and come back for him
It's like,
and if they would work.
so what would
Maybe
make
he
more
just
at the
wanted
box
that
office?
moment to say, "I am inevitable."
Inevitable.
We forgot too. We have Thor giving New Asgard. Can you be queen of like a small town?
She'll build it up.
Yes, you
I
can.
was saying, well, he gives the crown to Valkyrie because she's probably more capable at this point in Thor's life because he's a fucking mess. And Guardians 3 is about to be the best MCU movie of all time.
Yo.
I wonder if that was a James Gunn decision where he was saying, "Give me Thor" in the next one. And the chemistry between Thor, Rocket, and Groot was one of the best parts of Infinity War. People wanted just that movie, just them three out on adventures.
Chris
but
Hemsworth is so funny.
he's
Him
great
and Chris
comedic
Pratt
timing.
together are going to be fucking unreal.
That was one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Yeah, that last scene.
Actually,
Of course.
what we forgot too when he goes, it's like, you're not the only one that lost someone. I lost Star-Lord, Groot, the chick with the antenna.
Yeah.
Is there so much that I asked for you to get it together and help me get my family back?
It's like, yeah, he wouldn't know fucking this is his name.
He's been with her for years now at this point, too. He has no idea what her name is. Such an underrated performance by Bradley Cooper in every movie that he's in, playing Rocket. He's one of my favorite characters in the whole
I think
thing.
it's because I always forget that Bradley Cooper is Rocket.
Teddy always says that.
I never picture him saying it.
It's a great voiceover performance, and it's rare that you get an A-list actor. You always vision the actor when they do these voiceover roles.
I can't
Never
do it.
forget Vin Diesel.
Don't forget that.
Dude had one line. You know how much money he made for that one "I am Groot"? That's probably like a cool like $2 million for fucking one day of work.
Guardians are so awesome, man.
Yeah,
Just
they
the
are
tracks, like, oh, you should fight to the death, fight to see.
Fight for the honor.
Yo, seeing
Yeah.
Drax just shank that monster he was on.
And
That was
Nebula, like an
hilarious.
official member now, like in that group. And
That's awesome.
They're obviously going to be searching for Gamora, which is
Nebula had a really good arc in this movie.
Yeah.
Do you guys like how she talks?
I know you guys don't like her.
No, not that I don't like
hate
her.
her,
It's
but-
just the way she portrays the
I like it. It works
accent,
for
I guess
me.
you'd say. I don't know how.
I am Nebula.
Yeah, just like the robotic and like I guess it makes sense for her character because she is
There's an idiot
experimented
in
on
the
and
Yeah, no, she's very
mostly robotic, but
I don't know.
it's
I like
yeah.
Nebula, partially because Karen
love
Gillan.
Nebula. Doctor Who.
Yeah, I watched her particular seasons of Doctor Who when I was like 15, 16. So like, I see her as the companion from Doctor Who, Amy Pond.
And
No,
she's also
she-
6 foot.
She has a Scottish accent in real life, so
in Jumanji.
Yes, she's 6 foot Scottish and she has red hair. I mean, what's not?
Jeez.
I'm
What's
pretty
not
sure
to
it's a
like?
Scottish accent.
Yeah, she's Scottish.
Jumanji.
So like her doing this voice,
movie,
I'm just
yeah.
like, wow, you're not Scottish in this movie.
No, that's what impressed me so much about the first Guardians when I discovered her because I haven't watched Doctor Who, but I was like, she's fucking Scottish. It's a really good American accent, and I wonder what they're gonna do with Gamora. If the Soul for a Soul works out, where Gamora can somehow come back to life, I don't think so. I think maybe they're gonna,
Well, the alternate Gamora. She didn't
Yeah.
go back.
which is
Yeah.
kind of weird.
I'm pretty
Well, eventually
sure she's
she has to die,
definitely-
though, doesn't she?
No, because Thanos is dead.
I'm pretty sure Gamora is when
She's
they
in the
signed that
new- she's in
petition
the
for
current
James
timeline.
Gunn. Zoe Saldana had
Yeah, but her
signed it,
destiny
so
has to
she's
play
in
out,
the
though.
movie.
No, it doesn't.
Yes. Yeah,
No?
she's going to be in the movie, and they hint at that at the very end, that he's searching for her. She's in the new timeline.
No, I know she is, but I'm saying, doesn't her destiny have to play out and she has to die?
No,
Thanos is dead in
she
both.
has a new future.
And yeah, she's in the current timeline, so nothing matters in that. Just how Nebula can kill herself and just be fine.
When I in
You're
the
back.
first,
You're back to futuring it, Ted.
the
They told you not to
the
back
first-
to the future it.
in the first viewing, I don't know if you heard me or not, but when Nebula shot herself,
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
wow,
heard
she
you.
sacrificed herself. I thought she was gonna see her disappear.
Yeah, yeah, I heard you talking about Nebula.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some final scores here.
Cool.
Final score for Avengers Endgame. Aaron, what do you got?
I gave it in the beginning already, but 9.3.
9.3. Ted?
Yeah.
9.8.
9.8.
Damn.
Marissa?
9/7.
9.7.
Damn.
I would say 9.5.
Damn.
Okay.
I gave Infinity War 9.5, and I think Infinity War is the better movie, but I think the highs, especially Captain America and Mjolnir, is probably my favorite thing I've ever seen in my life. But I don't think I can have it higher than Infinity War just because the first two acts were a little not bad.
If I was a comic book junkie, I think I would have shit myself when I saw Cap grab the hammer.
He didn't just fucking grab it, right?
Yeah, he was toying with it. That's how happy were you
threw it.
from being a comic book reader and knowing that like there's a chance they could grab it, and then like seeing him actually do it.
I think it was the third greatest moment of my life. And the first two moments are very personal, but the fact that it's that high, it's. Seriously, that's my favorite moment of the MCU. I swear to God,
I feel like
it will always be. My
I've never
favorite
gone
moment.
like that in a movie theater
felt-
where I was so happy and like
Yeah.
exhaled. Like I
It
was
was
like,
like-
oh,
It felt like I had also taken
yo,
the
for,
hammer.
for real.
Marissa with Mjolnir. What a sight to see.
But I do feel at times like the moments outweighed the overall narrative and structure of the movie. But
Yeah.
But those first two acts is what makes that third act so great.
Yeah, it's a greatest hits album.
yeah, no,
Every
nostalgia.
song's a banger.
I'm not
but
complaining.
They're not flowing.
I'm
well
obviously
together,
very biased that a fucking super soldier picking up a unliftable hammer made me love this movie unconditionally. That's obviously a clear bias, but that's what you get when you have fucking 20 movies and 10 years of build-up for moments like that where I feel fine using fan service as an excuse of liking a movie because yeah, that's what I wanted to see, and I love that and I love that about these films. So I'm not gonna shy away from that and say it's a bad movie because it has those moments. No, fuck it. I'm biased and I'm proud.
Well, it is different. It is different because of the 22 movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's you just have to sit back and
Enjoy
tip
it.
your hat to what
yeah,
these
this-
people have done. To
Also,
enjoy
what it is.
this movie just makes no sense if you haven't seen any of the other
No.
movies.
Yeah, I wanted to say that. If you don't watch the Marvel movies, you're screwed. I mean, you can still like it, maybe.
Well, I
Like
have
if
a
you
friend-
just watch
so
Avengers
personal.
movies, nothing makes sense.
No.
Packing up.
I had a friend who was saying,
It's like 30 seconds before the bell rings. You're already fucking packing your
"Put
fat
your
back.
laptop down." One of my friends was like, "Why
The
did
bell doesn't dismiss you. It dismiss you.
One of my friends was like, in my screening, people kept clapping at different moments, and I was like, why is everybody clapping? And no, Infinity War was a movie that you can go into blank and get the gist of what's going on. This movie, there were so many. It was like an end credit scene in every other scene.
It was so personal.
Yes,
It felt like.
great way to put it.
Yeah.
This was made for the people who've been watching since the first
Definitely.
movie.
It's just personally in stories I prefer character. If the plot takes the back seat to character moments, I usually don't care because I like character moments better. Some of my favorite things to watch are like the slice of life, just because I enjoy seeing characters interact like that. So this movie definitely has issues. It has plot issues, and there are like some weird pacing things. But like because I got to see all of them just like talking to each other and like having those moments, I don't know if I'll ever love a movie as much as I like loved this one while I was watching it.
See, the pacing for me was near flawless. I had no issues with this movie flew by
Yeah.
each time I saw it. Every scene that went into the next. There were scenes I thought Infinity War, now I enjoy it more, and I still think it's slightly better than Endgame. But there are moments in Infinity War where a scene switches and it takes me out of it a little bit. I never got taken out of a moment in this movie.
Well, Infinity War sets the tone right away with Thanos, right? He hops on the ship.
But there are moments where it's just like there's something happening in Wakanda, and then it's like Thor and Rocket out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I feel like Infinity War, the way it was structured was big moment, some build-up character moments, another big moment, build-up character moments. This was more of a steady uphill
Yeah.
climb to the climax
That's
where
why I
it's just
thought it was
they're
paced
slowly
perfectly.
building, slowly building, slowly building. No, I don't mind a slow burn. It just felt it's a minor thing. I still love the movie,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just at times it was just a little.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I do love the fact that it was a 3-hour movie that did not feel 3 hours long.
No.
The third act was like.
Could've
Well,
been
that
longer.
flew by.
Was that third act at least like an hour? And it felt like it was like
I
20
don't know.
minutes.
I honestly have no idea how
Like,
long that
I
was.
mean,
Well,
It's like when you go to the
I've-
quantum realm, like 5 seconds is like an hour.
well, it was weird because that first act is not a traditional first act.
No.
It's like 15 minutes, and then you have one long ass second act.
I mean, you can consider Infinity
I think that
War
was the thing.
first act.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think that was like noticeable. Like once the lead up to going back in the quantum realm up until the third act, it just felt like it took a while to get there, but minor. And yeah, just the Russo brothers' achievement, the culmination of all these films. I saw someone put a tweet, and it was like for the Russo brothers' next movie, and it says the lead-ins like from visionary directors of Infinity War, Endgame, the Russo brothers, and they had the audacity to comment that it's like, oh, they'll just call anybody visionary now. It's like, come on, man.
If any two directors
Yeah.
in the world deserve it, it's them.
Yeah.
Just
I remember when they called Ava DuVernay visionary after Selma. It's like, what the hell?
just like what they were able to accomplish with putting all these
Selma.
characters together.
It's a visionary. It's a real story.
There's no way it's easy to put all these characters together like this and have it be good. And like they did it like 3 times.
Justice League couldn't do it.
With
Oh,
4 characters.
Come on. They tried.
We like Justice League, but it's nowhere to the scale of these. It just shows like you have 2 comparisons where it's probably the only comparison you can make, DC Marvel, from the scale of franchise. And one has just gone perfectly. The other is picking up, building momentum, but just the way they stumbled out of the gate, it's amazing how even if you didn't like the original Marvel movies, just the path that they had and the vision, and it all just played out. And it's
If you think about it, I feel like most of the audience was coming for the bring back of all the people that got dusted, and they were able to manage to get everyone's focus back on the original Avengers and make it more of like a nostalgia feeling when everybody came back, as opposed to the movie being about the people that came back and how they're going to help win. Meanwhile, it's the originals that took care of it all.
Oh yeah, actually, and like before this movie, I thought they were gonna get everyone back about halfway through.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie was gonna be them trying to get Thanos.
Like, how much screen time did everyone really get? They maybe got like 10 minutes each.
Yeah, it was somehow longer and yet more. It was smaller and more personal.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so brilliant. It ended where it began, and now we are ending this podcast before somebody makes another point.
I just want to say, I don't think they're gonna be able to do this again.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what they have up their sleeve. Feige's got a plan. You have a point?
no,
Okay.
I did, but
I did too before I said what I said.
Did you see that meme? And it was like Cap watching JFK get assassinated, and he's like, "Oh, good old Bucky."
That's amazing. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Let us know what you thought of Endgame in the comments below. Don't spoil it, even though it's a spoiler discussion. But actually, yeah, you can. Spoil away in the comments.
I mean, if you're on this, you know what you're getting
You're in
into.
this territory. All right, for Aaron, Teddy, Marissa, I am Bo, and we will be back. We'll be back. This is what we do. all
make
the
sure to
time.
listen to us on iTunes, because we forgot to tell you that in the beginning.
iTunes,
For a
Spotify,
second straight podcast.
SoundCloud. Yeah, check us out.
Is Endgame winning any awards, you think?
Best Picture. It will get
No,
nominated.
It won't.
Yes, it will.